An ambitious agenda, but I do want to start with a few thank yous because this is really the first chance I've had to be with many of you. Bob Bancroft, Eastern Shore Forest Watch, their lawyer, Jamie Simpson, who is going to speak here shortly, Karen Reinhardt and the sign depot team, Ian Guppy, Cassandra Francis, all the sign people, Ian for his videos. I got the wrong name on that one. Anyway, Jerry Lockett for his videos. Sorry, Jerry. Helen Michael for all her graphics. Matt and Carla Dempsey, the cartoons. Matt are fabulous. Paul Uloth, who is the master planner for the Eastern Shore Seaside Park System. Ann McLeod, all the people who have set up tables at farmers markets and spread the word. Our science people, Caitlin Porter, Christina Borders, Rachel Kendall, the social media team, Sydney Lynn, who founded the Facebook group, Bev Isaacs and Lindsay Lee, who work tirelessly on that group page, Stan France and Lindsay Lee for an excellent, informative website where you can go to find the truth about this deal. Anyway, Lindsay Lee on Instagram and YouTube. Gee, and Lindsay Lee's in here a lot, isn't she, now that I think about it. Anyway, Jody Turner, who can't be here today, and Kim Connolly on Twitter. Together on all these platforms, we are reaching and teaching thousands of people every day about what happened to Owls Head Provincial Park. Elizabeth Marshall and Trevor Chenier and all members of the Mi'kmaq Nation that are joining us in this fight. Everyone who has put up a sign in their yard, signed a petition, emailed their MLA, challenged a candidate at the door, and demanded the truth. We are all united in the fight to save Owls Head Provincial Park and to hold the government accountable for its action. We'll win the fight. Ian Rankin should never have secretly removed Owls Head Provincial Park and offered to sell it to Lighthouse Links for a pittance. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, to use his own words against him. Should never have done it without consultation with the Mi'kmaq government, Mi'kmaq Nation. This travesty should never have happened if Ian Rankin had only done his job. And his lies every day now just add insult to this injury. I could go on about the ecological significance. You can find all that on our group page and website. And we have a list of speakers today who have kindly agreed to add their voice to our cause. And I'm going to lead off with Jamie Simpson, who is the lawyer in the recent court challenges. Jamie.
Hello, Jamie.
Thank you, Chris. And Chris already thanked Bob and the Eastern Shore Forest Watch, but I wanted to mention Bob Bancroft and Barbara Markovitz and the rest of the board at the Eastern Shore Forest Watch, because it's these folks that are brave enough to stand up and to take a case like this to court. It's a big undertaking. I just want to commend them for going ahead with that. So ultimately, we were not successful at the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia with Justice Brothers, but nonetheless, I think that, you know, if we take a look at the decision that Justice Brothers gave about a week ago on July 26, I just wanted to quote a few things from her ruling that, you know, some of the findings of fact that Justice Brothers had, I think, is quite telling on this situation. These are some of the things that Justice Brothers said. For more than 4 decades, the province of Nova Scotia represented to the public that Owls Head Crown lands were a provincial park and openly treated them like one. The public did not learn about the delisting of Owls Head or about the conditional sale until after the agreement was signed. If Owls Head had been formally designated as a provincial park, as was represented to the public, any change to its status as protected land would have required an order in council and would therefore have been public knowledge. Ultimately, the government's own misrepresentation of the status of the lands shielded its actions from scrutiny and allowed purportedly protected lands to be considered for sale out of the public eye. And those are damning facts for sure. And I'm glad that Justice Brothers made these findings of fact, even if she ultimately did not agree with our legal position. With that, I'll thank you all for coming and being here today, and pass it on to the next speaker, or back to Chris, I guess.
And Bob has been an unrelenting voice for the protection of nature and ecosystems in this province, and I think in Japan he'd be a national treasure, but we don't have those here. Anyway, I'm going to hand it over to Bob.
I want to thank every one of you here today. You have ethics, and you believe that the government should too. I'm grateful to you all, and Chris has already said a number of you, but every one of you who counts, and the petition counts, the written one, the electronic one, they try to ignore. I'm only one person, but I have a few thoughts I'd like to contribute to this. To paraphrase Thomas Jefferson, the best defense of democracy is an informed citizenry. We were not informed. The Nova Scotia government clings to an economic growth model that attaches more value to wild habitats when they become golf courses, and forests have more value as wood piles, and the wildlife just keeps getting in the way of so-called progress. I'm mad too. Jane Goodall put it succinctly, we're trashing the planet. Actually, if you want to think about an economist, former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney recently called it trading off the planet for profit. Yeah, you're to the privileged. You're right. The political efforts to address major issues that have come up, and they're real, are still not either adequate or sensible. And humans, as well as nature, need a significant change of direction in order to survive, not just little tweaks. Owls Head is part of an old story with new, deadly efficient technologies. And 120 years ago, in the United States, Theodore Roosevelt, within 2 months of being elected president, stepped in to stop the timber wolves from rampant extraction across his nation. Teddy, as they called him, created parks in spite of loud, industry-led howling. Today, those parks are national treasures. Beyond Owl's Head, we saw Ian Rankin's government is still entertaining proposals from gold mining and forestry companies to develop yeah, take off. That's thanks for breaking this up.
And don't recomplicate Britain either.
Yep. They're developing the last strongholds of the endangered mainland moose and the Atlantic salmon on public lands. Also this year, the forest industry mounted a campaign of lies designed to scare and enrage landowners and outdoor folks about the government's biodiversity bill. Instead of standing up for their own bill, the Liberals quickly gutted an act that Nova Scotia sorely needed. Humans need a healthy world around us. Our friends the Mi'kmaq are standing examples in order for us to survive as a species. And my friend Frank Muse from Bear River First Nation suggests that we should be learning to be a good ancestor one step at a time. One of the set, it's already been mentioned, but I couldn't believe it. I mean, I asked my wife, can I do this? Because I'm not a rich man. But when I heard that this was being done and offered for sale for $316 an acre, that was just outrageous. That was just one of the most terrible things. Um, corruption, it's just,
Giving away our lands to the Americans.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, Justice Brothers advises us to take this to the poll, and thank goodness she said it when she did. And I'm happy to see Gary Burrill here today. In all fairness, are there other politicians that have taken the time to, please raise your hands. Politicians. Whoa. Okay. We need you.
Thank you.
We need leadership. We can vote for candidates who pledge to stop clear cutting for us and never secretly offer ecologically important public land for private sale for a pittance, as Chris said. We urgently, I'm just about finished. You have to be short at these things, but I really think we need action and not words. I'm tired of hearing words. We need a government that the public can trust. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being motivated to do something.
Government works for us.
The next speaker I have here is works for the Sierra Club of Canada, Tynette Deveaux, and she has extensive experience in all form of media and cares deeply about clearing paths for social justice and action on climate change. And the Sierra Club, the World Wildlife Fund, CPAWS, the Ecology Action Center, there's a list of valuable allies of this cause and this group, all of whom Ian Rankin has ignored. Everyone submitted, they all submitted emails, proposals, letters, reports, requests, all ignored. Tynette. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Last night I went looking for a little inspiration, and a book that I turn to periodically is called Active Hope by Joanna Macy. Joanna Macy is one of the pioneers of the environmental movement. She says, when change wants to happen, it looks for people to act through. You and we are those people. We've heard the call that the planet is suffering, and we've stepped up. We understand that extreme weather events, severe droughts, massive wildfires, the melting ice caps aren't a fluke. We've listened to the science, which is backed up by data and research, and we understand just how vital it is to preserve ecosystems. And I think that's why Owls Head is such a lightning rod. This isn't about wanting to have a nice place to go for a stroll. Personally, I've never been to Owls Head. I've also never had COVID. But that doesn't mean I don't believe that it's a serious and in some cases deadly virus. I believe the science on COVID, and I believe the science on climate change and Owls Head. So I say to government, how dare you proclaim yourself a climate leader How dare this government proclaim itself a climate leader while undermining the very efforts of the real climate leaders who are here today. And there are many who couldn't be here today who have worked tirelessly to preserve our ecosystems, our endangered species, and our forests. How dare the government proclaim to be a climate leader when it's also the mega sponsor for an international petroleum conference happening this fall in Morocco at a 5-star hotel where it will promote opportunities for offshore oil and gas. How fucking dare you sow the seeds of division between people who want to preserve the environment and protect it for future generations, and pit us against rural people who need jobs to put food on the table. Since when did Building Back Better become about giving people an ultimatum? If you want a job, you do it at the behest of a billionaire American and with the destruction of the environment. What kind of green future are we talking about here? And how dare the government say that it can't afford to support rural jobs and care for the environment when it forgives millions of dollars in government loans to companies like Northern Pulp and others just like them. And how dare they say they can't afford to take care of the land when they lease out Mi'kmaq territory that it calls Crown land to companies that will clear cut the forest for profit. The whole idea of Crown land is predicated on a racist colonial lie known as the doctrine of discovery. This doctrine is based on the Edict of a Pope that was spoken in the 1400s, in which it was decided that indigenous peoples who occupied this land for time immemorial were savages and that they were to be exterminated or subjected to government rule. So I say we must stand with our Mi'kmaq land and water protectors and knowledge keepers and renounce the racist lies that stand in our way. And when you start to feel that peeling back the lies that we've been sold for so many years is making you feel overwhelmed or discouraged, I say to you, find what sustains you in this fight. Because this is a fight for survival, and we can't stop. World leaders have been saying for a number of years that we're the first generations to really feel the full effects of climate change, and we're also the last that can do anything about it. But we don't have much time. So hold on to what sustains you, hold on to each other, and I'll offer you a final thought that Joanna Macy offers that I find helpful and you might too. She says, we can think of ourselves as part of a team recruited by a vision that wants to happen. Thank you, everyone, for all that you do.
And I've been told to be careful about my introduction here because I had something else I wanted to say. But anyway, this is Gary Burrill, you know, and you know, Gary, just give me a second here because what I like to say is political leader in most cases, is an oxymoron. They are not leaders. But I feel differently about Gary, and I'm going to leave it at that. Gary Burrill.
I think we should say first that Justice Brothers' decision that there was nothing illegal in what the Rankin Liberals did in Owls Head does nothing to change the core truth and the core fact that we are gathered to stand for here today, and that is that what the Rankin Liberals did to Owls Head was wrong. It was wrong. From so many different angles. We know how wrong it was from an environmental angle, whether we speak about conservation concern for species, whether we're talking about international uniqueness of habitat and the many other considerations that have been articulated so clearly about the need to preserve Owls Head. We know it was also democratically wrong. That, as Jamie has said, for over 40 years, the people of Nova Scotia were given to understand by their province that Owls Head was a provincial park. And it was designated by means of an extended process of consultation through the 2009 Colin Stewart Forum, through the 2011 Land Review process, through the 2013 Parks and Protected Areas Plan, all of this involving way over 1,000 public submissions over a series of years, which were completely thrown out the window with one secret, behind closed doors, Liberal cabinet decision. So it's environmentally wrong, it's democratically wrong, and I think it's important for us to register clearly that it's morally wrong as well. It is below the standard of what we ought to be able to expect from our government. That Owls Head was prepared for sale on the basis of meetings between a former Liberal cabinet minister who was paid to have those meetings by the proponent through whom he was a registered lobbyist to go and acquire the Crown land so that he could put a golf course in that park. And it's below the standard, it's below the moral standard that we have a right to expect from our government. That the public had no means of becoming aware of this decision, that it was hidden and behind cabinet closed doors until an enterprising digging journalist was able investigatively to come and produce the facts. I'm proud to be part of a political party that went to the legislature and put on the table a piece of legislation called the Owls Head Act. And the Owls Head Act says that henceforward, no piece of, no area that is pending official protective designation may be delisted in the absence of transparency, accountability, and public consultation. So Justice Brothers said in that decision, as Jamie said earlier, something awfully important. She said, this decision, what the Rankin Liberals did to Owls Head is something that has a remedy. But the remedy is in the sphere of what is presently before us in Nova Scotia. It is in the sphere of the ballot box. It is in the sphere of an election. And so I want to make three very clear commitments. I want to register this truth, that an NDP government in Nova Scotia will pass the Owls Head Act into law. We will pass the Owls Head Act into law, which has not been able to be moved into law because of the opposition of the Rankin Liberals. We will pass it into law in the first session of the legislature after the election of the 17th of August and the swearing in of a new government. That's one. And the NDP government, which is prepared to pass the Owls Head Act into law in Nova Scotia, is ready and committed to to craft a path now to the protection of 25% of our lands and our waters in Nova Scotia by 2025 and 30% by 2030, according to honour Canada's international commitments. That's 2. And 3, I want to register this as clearly as I can. An NDP government will stop the sale of Owls Head. And the NDP government will extend protection to the rest of the 2013 areas listed in the Parks and Protected Areas Plan, including Owls Head. Thank you.
The Green Party of Nova Scotia is committed to asking excellent questions in every election from now on, and hopefully in the next government as well. And what we were also committed to doing is inquiring into how provincial park reserves can even be delisted, whether they can be sold without meaningful consultation with the Mi'kmaq Nation, at a price of, what was it, $300 an acre? $306 an acre. Did we tender that? Was there a tendering process on the sale of that land? We don't need tenders. We apparently do need some lobbyists registered with the government. If anybody wants to find out who's the registered lobbyist for Lighthouse Links, Michelle Simpson, the previous Liberal MP. So if you're wondering where your lands might go, ask good questions. We do encourage you to vote green, but also vote, if you need to vote strategically in your area, that makes sense to us as well. Greens are willing and capable of collaborating across party lines to make excellent things happen. I'm going to pass the mic to the Green candidate for Halifax Shabato, Lily Barraclough.
I know I don't have a lot of time, but as a young person, I'm 23 years old, running in this election. I'm running because I'm scared for my future. And I don't want things like this to happen ever again. And they happen way too often, and no ecosystem should be threatened in the way that Owl's Head is by being sold, but it's happening way too much, and I think we need to be doing everything we possibly can to avert and adapt to the climate crisis, and to ensure that we're uplifting all those living on this land, this part of Mi'kmaq, as we do so. And one thing I just want to mention before I head off is that one of the things that I'm most excited about that we as Greens are pushing for in our platform is returning all Crown land, stewardship of all Crown land to the Mi'kmaq, and working to create a program for private landowners to also return the stewardship of their land. And we need to be using a two-eyed seeing approach to all natural resource management, because we, as settlers, we do not know what is best for this land, and we need to be following the leadership of those who do in a meaningful way. So thank you all for being here, and it's inspiring to hear from our NDP colleagues as well, and I hope that this election will really give me some hope for my future and the hope for those who come after me as well.
Thank you. Well, organically evolving rally here. Okay, so our next speaker on our agenda is a local resident, a member of the Save Owls Head Facebook group, and her name is Pamela Baker.
Yeah, we needed a local to talk, somebody near Owls Head, and I actually have walked around Owls Head. I want to begin by telling you I am not a scientist. I am not an expert on biodiversity or ecosystems. However, neither am I anti-development. I'm a retired high school English teacher who chose Nova Scotia as her home. My husband and I live 10 minutes up the road from Owls Head, and we decided almost 2 years ago when Sydney started this Facebook page that we wanted to be members. We could no longer sit on the sidelines. Apparently, thank goodness, almost 10,000 other people on our Facebook page feel the same way. I'm going to address something that really hasn't been talked about, but I think I'm going to start it by saying the golf course has become the supporters' rallying myth. And although we do not believe it's the central issue, it needs to be addressed. Much of my information stems from conversations with my brother, who's been the general manager of 2 very large golf and country clubs and has been in the business for over 35 years. He loves golf, has a very low handicap, and thinks building a golf course at Owls Head is absolutely foolish. If, and it's a big if, Lighthouse Links and Beckwith Gilbert acquire this oceanfront land at the ridiculous cost of $306 an acre, my brother's opinion is that these proposed golf courses will not even be feasible. Golf courses cannot be constructed overnight. If there's no grading nor specialized blasting needed, the CGA says that an average course takes 12 to 18 months to complete, with another 6 months for the grass on the fairways and the greens to take hold. This area will require far more invasive destruction, and I use that word destruction, and will likely double the estimate of time. There is no natural fill in that area. So in order to fill the hundreds of trucks that will travel up and down our road to Owls Head, another piece of land will have to be destroyed. We are on the short side of the loop, and so it would make sense that it will be our homes that will have to put up with the noise and the traffic day after day after day. What damage will be done to those roads, and whose taxes are going to be going up, whose taxes will be going up when the damage is finished? I wonder if people are aware that the average golf course sucks up, get this, 900,000 liters of fresh water a day. A day. Where is that fresh water going to come from? Are they going to truck it in? Are they going to drain the wells in the area? These are the same people not concerned about the fertilizers, the pesticides, the insecticides that golf courses use, ones you and I cannot lawfully purchase. How will that affect the ocean and the eelgrass, which is so important? People who think the golf course will bring instant employment are not being told the truth. If one course will take 3 years to finish, the jobs that they think will magically appear will be seasonal and low paying. Thanks to Beverly Isaacs, she lives in Little Harbor next to Owls Head, she kept track of the weather for 72 days lately. 23 of those were foggy, 20 were raining or overcast. If you factor in black flies and mosquitoes, your golfing days at Owl Head will be few and far between, trust me. And if you have to wait around for 3 more years even to get a part-time job that would maybe pay for 4 or 5 months, are you willing to wait that time? Most people would not. The myth continues with visions of hotels and bars and restaurants. If a golf course takes 3 to 4 years to open, the other facilities traditionally are not built until the owners know the course is successful. Rich people do not get richer by throwing good money after bad. There will be no commitments of hotels and bars until they are absolutely certain. So shelve that idea of sitting on the 19th hole with your margarita. It's going to take 8 to 10 years before that ever happens. The alternatives, I live there. There are so many more other ways to spend money on the Eastern Shore. We need sidewalks, for God's sakes. We need bus service for our seniors. We need bicycle lanes for residents and tourists, and yes, wheelchair access. We need a swimming pool so folk can avoid 2-hour round trips for lessons or recreation. We need a science center where the accommodations where full-time instructors can help to celebrate the environment, explain the effects of climate change, and partner with the deanery to lead both student and adult kayak tours in summer and snowshoeing hikes in winter. I firmly believe that the golf course and the promise of jobs is a smokescreen that covers up the land grab of one wealthy foreigner who has already built a bunker, who has waged a campaign of buying up properties to create an oceanfront playground for himself, his rich friends, and his family. And this present government engineered it, tried to hide it, and used the people of the Eastern Shore against each other in an old-fashioned game of bait and switch. My last thought, vote. Vote like your life depends on it to replace this government and tell Ian Rankin to keep his bloody hands and blazes away from our parks.
Rankin, are you listening? Are you out there? Do you hear this? Anyway, no, we know he's not listening. Anyway, Peter Burris, an activist, a member of our group, long-term committed citizen to fighting environmental degradation. Peter.
It's a cliche to say that we're here to save a little bit of nature for future generations. But that's exactly why we're here, isn't it? I have 4 young grandchildren. My granddaughter just turned 6. She's happiest traipsing through the woods and running through meadows. She turns rocks and rotten logs over just to see what's living under them. She loves snakes and salamanders. She has a Tupperware container with holes punched in the top and a layer of dirt at the bottom. This past summer, she cared for a number of pets. 2 earthworms, an inchworm, a couple of land snails, and 6 garden slugs. All her pets have names. She feeds them cabbage leaves and sprinkles them with water. And with the help of her parents, she learns about them. She's very curious about the natural world around her. She showed me the eggs that slugs laid. Who knew slugs lay eggs? My 6-year-old granddaughter does. She loves to be in nature. She loves to learn about nature. But we are losing nature, incrementally, bit by bit. And if we don't stop, we will be telling kids like my granddaughter and all the generations to come, oh yes, nature, we used that up. Sorry. We've got to stop using up nature. In this case, we've got to save Owls Head Provincial Park. Stop the sale.
It's very important. And of course, the women's role as protectors of the water. So I just wanted to share some of those teachings with you today. It was told that the women are sacred. Women have the ability, sacred ability of bringing new life forward, carrying the child in the womb, surrounded by water, where the child develops, can drink the water, breathe the water. It is the water. When we come into this world, we are over 75% water. And when we come through to be born into this world, from that spirit world, we bring that spirit of the water with us. We are born through the water. And the women have also been given the responsibility with that gift to bring life forward, is to protect the water for the child that you bring into this world, but also the next 7 generations. So we carry that teaching. We're not only here to protect the water for the human being, but all life. We call them our relations. The flyers, the swimmers, the crawlers, the four-legged, the trees, the plants, all things that need water to live. Those are our relations. So when we say Nogama, that's what we mean, all our relations. When we say that. Another teaching that I'd just like to share is, many of those women are on the front lines across Turtle Island, not only here in North America, all over the world. You'll find Indigenous people standing with their bodies on the front line to protect the sacred, to protect the land, to protect the water, for their family, for their children, but also for all our relations. Many have given their lives have been taken as they do these things. And I know some of my sisters are on the front line across Turtle Island today, and they need help. They need the prayers, they need the physical help. If you could go there, you could support, reach out and help to support our sisters, that are stopping Line 3, that are out west in BC, all over. And I just want to say a few words for them because they are in my heart. And I'd like to say a little bit about that land acknowledgement. When we say we are on the unceded, Mi'kmaq territory. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? It's not just an exercise. It's not like the blanket exercise. It's not an exercise. To me, we live treaty. We are living treaty, even by being here today. It means so much more. That's not Crown land. That's our land. When we say we are on the unceded Mi'kmaq territory, and decisions continue to be made without our Mi'kmaq peoples, what does that say? You know, words are only words, same as same as the apology for the residential school survivors. No apology. That apology does not mean anything unless actions are being taken for reconciliation. When you say you're sorry for doing something, you want to know what you can do to make things right. You know, you want to be able to do something, to say something, to do something, to create something. And I think today, this is what we expect. As a survivor of the residential school, that's what I expect. I expect that we are going to do something together. And then what might say, another thing is the unity about our people, the Peace and Friendship Treaty. You know, that means a lot to me as well. And it means a lot to our people because it's still valid, a sacred covenant we made with Creator. We made to share our lands. We're sharing our lands with you. And we expect that you're going to unite with us, to stand with us, to protect the sacred as well. And a little bit about the owl, just quickly. In Sabaganagity, where I am from, the owl had come to the women during a fast, during a spring equinox. And the owl gave the message to our people that it's going to be up to the women to help our people to heal from the bad things that are coming. We know what those things are. We have been living those things intergenerationally. We've been living those bad things that have come through with the colonization, with the residential schools, you know, with centralization, where they took our people off our own lands, put us on reservations. A lot of things have happened, and they continue to happen today, and it's still going to be up to the women to help our people to heal, and your women to help all our people to heal together. Well, Alan, I'm sitting over.
Well, all y'all, well, Darcy, down there, biggest, well, Darcy, a bit of well, Darcy, aim, well, I did kiss cook. I thank you for being here. I thank you for being invited, and I thank all of you for coming to support us. I want to tell you I've been an activist and a grandmother. I was asked by my elders to be a grandmother for the nation. A month ago, I met up with the Indian Affairs Minister down at the Shubenacadie Indian Residential School site. It was just pure coincidence. I drove up to him. I opened my window and I said, "Hello, sir. You get to meet the worst of us all." And I mean it. I mean it. I was taught to have no mercy for the oppressor. I was taught to have no mercy for those that try to harm us. I was taught to have no mercy for the enemies of the nation. Rankin, you're an enemy. You did not seek free, prior, and informed consent before you sold that Owl's Head to your billionaire buddy. This land is Mi'kma'ki. It is not Rankinville. It'll never be Rankinville. I know the Liberals wrote the white paper policy of 1969 that was intended to wipe us out. And even though the Liberals are in power and they almost wiped us out, we're still here. Just a reminder that I'm here. I see elders like Billy. Hello, Billy. Thank you for being here. We have other elders who are supporting us. We have the grandmothers here. And I'm going to tell you something. I have been fighting as a warrior for a long time. Since 1999, I've been a grandmother. And since that time, I have been stepping up for my people and fighting every cause. And when we first came out in 2000, I have to tell you, the non-Indigenous people were against us. They were against us, and we had no faith. We were all alone, upholding the sacred, protecting the water, protecting our people. We were all alone. But I see today, this many years later, much has changed. And I want you to know, I have been on the front lines many times in fighting fracking, in fighting golf courses, in fighting logging, in fighting all of these things. And I'll tell you something, I never entered a fight unless I knew I could win. So, Owl Head, guess what's going to happen? We're going to win. We're going to defeat the Liberals. And it doesn't even matter if the Liberals squeak in by a slithery move, by cheating at the polls, because they'll have to cheat to win. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the Mi'kmaq warriors will step up. And we'll assert our title. We'll assert our title, and we will stand in direct confrontation to the bulldozers, to Rankin, to Gilbert, and whoever else wants to plow through. Because I'll tell you what kept me up Friday night. When I was in Owls Head there earlier in the summer, I've been traveling these roads across Nova Scotia for all my life, ever since I was 16. I'm 60. My last vehicle, it was 9 years old. I put 300,000 kilometers on it before I was hit by a driver, young fellow, head-on collision 18 months ago. So I have never in my life seen a bear walk out of the woods and into the ditch at Nova Scotia, ever. Since I've been driving from 77 or I think 76 I started driving. I've never seen a bear. But when I went to Owl Head, I saw a female bear come out of the woods. And she stopped and she looked at me. And she captured my heart. And I knew that why I was there is not for my non-Indigenous neighbors, although I love you guys. I'm here for the water, I'm here for the land, and I'm here for the bear and all the fauna, the fish, and everything. So people, don't give up. We're going to defeat them. We're going to win. And Owl Head will be protected because we're going to make sure of it. Right? I very thank you. I thank you for listening. I thank you for being here today. And I love you guys. I thank you so much.
Thank you all for coming.
Hello, everyone. It's a nice day for a rally. Owls Head Provincial Park is not just about Owls Head Provincial Park. It's about change. It's about respect for First Nations. It's about respect for Nova Scotians. It's about Nova Scotia legacy and not letting rich Americans come here and destroy that legacy. It's about speaking up and being a voice for the land, the birds, the trees, the animals, the fish, and rare, unique ecosystems that cannot speak for themselves. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart, to each and every one of you, for all you have been doing to save Owls Head Provincial Park. So, Joni Mitchell, a famous Canadian singer-songwriter from Alberta, has given us permission to play her song Big Yellow Taxi at our rally today. So, I want you all to listen to that song. It's going to take me a minute to hook it up. And I want you all to dance out your anger in a healthy way. And then after that, I want you to all go home and I want you to vote for change. I want you to vote smart and I want you to vote to save Owls Head Provincial Park. So there's one more thing that I'd like to tell you because I just found this out yesterday. I heard through the grapevine that Beckworth Gilbert is really pissed off at all of us right now. So be proud, be Nova Scotia proud.
Swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? It's been paradise, but the parking lot. Took all the trees, put them in the tree museum, and they charged the people $1.50 just to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Hey, farmer, farmer, with a DDT net. Give me spots on apples, but leave me the birds and the bees. Please don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. You paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Late last night, there's a screen door slam, and a big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? You paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? You paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Paved paradise, put up a parking lot. Paved paradise, put up a parking lot.
The deadline,
We should be that way.
I think we should be here for visibility.
Yeah.
The whole lack of transparency.
The sleaziness.
If that's the way you're going to be running it.
One of this.
Ones around here. Anybody else looking to sign the petition here? Okay. Here's all our pens. Got that one. Try that one there. Large.